On this episode of My Crazy Personality Disorder, we'll catch up with Scarlett Turner, whose trial was made famous nationwide for burning down 4 houses because of the monster inside her. Today we'll get a closer look at her motives and where this monster truly lies.
Today is our first day of therapy with Scarlett. She was sentenced to 10 years in prison and court-mandated therapy for 4 counts of arson. We're now starting our first session, so we'll see how it goes.
Scarlett Turner was diagnosed with antisocial personality disorder. It is defined in the DSM-4 as a pervasive pattern of disregard for and violation of the rights of others that begins in childhood or early adolescence and continues on in adulthood. Overall symptoms of the disease include apathy towards the rules and expectations of society, repeated infringements towards the rights of others, illegal or unlawful behavior, lying and lack of regard for the truth, neglect or abuse of children if they have any, hopping from job to job, and physical aggression or violence. About 1% of the U.S. adult population is diagnosed with ASPD, and 46.1% of those with the disorder are receiving treatment. This disorder is more prevalent in males than in females. If in females, it usually begins during early puberty, while in males, it begins anytime during childhood. Patients very rarely seek out therapy, with many being manipulative with no motivation for change. And they also tend to lack emotional attachment towards others, but put a friendly and sociable facade.
Hi, Scarlett. I'm Dr. X. It's nice to meet you. Hi. Oh, okay. Why don't you just sit down? That's fine. All right.
I don't know why I'm here. It's not my fault. I didn't choose to do it. Something made me.
How have you been feeling about this whole thing?
Well, it's just really difficult for me, and it's ruining my life.
What makes it so difficult?
I don't know. It just is.
Well, do you feel guilty about burning the houses down?
Not really.
Okay. So, tell me a bit about fire. What got you started with that?
Well, I've always thought it was kind of interesting. Fun to watch. Ever since I was little, it was intriguing. As I got older, it became fun to watch things burn. I used to set little things on fire when I was younger, and then when I got older, they got bigger too. I don't know why everyone's so upset about it. I just think it's fun.
So you don't think you did anything wrong?
I know I didn't.
The 2 main treatments for this disorder are cognitive behavioral and drug therapy. Cognitive behavioral therapy helps to change the patient's thoughts, beliefs, ideas, attitudes, mental images, and what they pay attention to. In antisocial personality disorder, the major goal of therapy is to help the patient understand how their distorted perceptions prevent actual problems and how they act accordingly in the real world. Therapists must refrain from using any emotional outbursts and ignore their feelings, as this can actually disrupt the therapeutic process. Many patients can be irritable and unlikable, but this must be pushed aside when dealing with the issues. Our Dr. X uses this type of therapy to figure out what's been going on in Scarlett Turner's mind, as well as help her turn the so-called monster into a more positive influence. Currently, there are no approved drugs specifically for ASPD, but many doctors prescribe anti-aggression medication because aggression is a major symptom of this disorder.
I prescribed Scarlett with phenytoin, which it reduces impulsive aggression in a prison environment, which is something that I definitely think she's going to struggle with. I also find it interesting that she finds her interest in fire as having always been there, whereas her brother, when we interviewed him, he discussed how he thought there was a connection between their father's death and when it became more of a problem with these impulses.
Scarlett was always kind of reserved, and she was always somewhat curious about fire, but until her dad died, it was just that. It was curiosity. Then it became more of an obsession. She became even more reserved, and fire was the only thing that would make her happy. And I also found it kind of strange. She didn't even cry when Dad died.
Good morning, Scarlett. How are you feeling today?
Same as yesterday.
All right. Well, what problems would you like to work on today? Okay. Well, I recently found out that your father passed away when you were young. Do you want to talk about that and how it affected you?
Death happens. I was kind of upset that I had to grow up without a father, and other people didn't. Like, that's just unfair that it happened to me.
How did he pass away?
He was sick or something. I don't know. My mom made us go visit him at the hospital, and I had to miss school like a ton.
And it bothered you that you had to go visit your father?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you think it's possible that you may have turned to fire to cope with your loss?
I guess you could say that.
Alright. How else has your personal life been affected by these urges with fire?
Well, I had a boyfriend, but he just didn't understand what I was going through. He blamed it all on me, and it wasn't my fault. It's never been my fault.
Scarlett, she was crazy. She manipulated me the entire relationship, and I didn't even realize it till later on. She always thought I was cheating on her, but I never cheated at all. Also, she was paranoid that I wouldn't show up to our dates. She would just stand me up and not show up. And that whole fire thing, it's crazy.
How long did you date for?
3 weeks. The worst 3 weeks of my entire life.
Have all your relationships been like that?
No, that one was pretty special, I guess. Lasted a long time.
It's great to have someone understand what I'm going through. Dr. X is helping me to fight the monster inside and suppress it by channeling these urges into something more productive. It's my homework for the week.
Can you describe to me how you burned the houses down?
Sure. First, I made sure no one was inside.
Oh, because you didn't want to hurt anybody.
Well, no, I just didn't want to get caught and have to stop.
Oh, okay.
So anyway, then I would pour gasoline over everything, the floors, the walls, the stairs, everything. Then I'd light a single match and run away as it caught on fire. And I made sure not to leave any evidence, and I always had an alibi for where I was. And I picked houses that weren't close to mine, so nobody would suspect it was me.
So you did this to 4 different houses.
4.5. The last one got ruined because this dog was barking and really took me out of the moment, so I couldn't fully enjoy it. And I was so distracted I didn't clean up the way I usually do. That's why I got caught.
That wraps everything up. I hope you continue to use these strategies that we've discussed and practice throughout therapy, even after you are released. These practices will help you in the real world when the temptations become a lot more realistic and, well, reachable.
Thanks.
Thank you.
After seemingly successful 20 sessions, Scarlett Turner appears to be gradually improving. Dr. X was able to convince her that she created the monster to shift blame off of herself. Scarlett Turner has now come to terms with the fact that the monster never really existed.
Sorry. Are you kidding me? You're fired!
I'm good.
So how have you been feeling about this whole thing?
This is just really difficult for me, and it's ruining my life.
I'm sorry, that's not.
Tune in next week.
I saw it in your face.
But I didn't realize it till now. She would accuse me of cheating all the time, but I never did cheat.
After a seemingly successful 20 sessions, Scarlett Turner has come to Nope. Okay.
Stand me up and not show up. Fire. Oh, and that
How are you feeling today?
Same as yesterday.
Okay. Well, what problems would you like to work on today?